Welcome to Restoria, your cozy corner for gentle bedtime stories. My name is James and I'll be your host tonight. Every night, we bring you peaceful tales designed to calm your mind and help you drift off into a deep, restful sleep. So snuggle in, close your eyes, and let the story begin. The story tonight is called The Sky Spire. Chapter 1. The Lantern in the Window. The city below hums like a restless thought. It's evening now, and the streets are glowing with traffic lights and signs, their colors flickering against the sides of buildings like candlelight trying too hard to be noticed. Somewhere down there, a delivery truck honks. Someone laughs too loudly. Someone else rushes toward a train. But far above all that, past the blinking offices and stacked apartments, past the floors where elevators stop with a ding and where coffee machines never quite sleep, there is a floor few people visit. Level 888. It doesn't show up on the building's directory. No one remembers moving anyone in or out. And yet, if you take the staircase, every single one, or if you happen to press a certain combination of buttons in the elevator without meaning to, sometimes you arrive there. And when you do, it's quiet. There are no hallway lights. Just soft panels that glow like moonlight. The air smells faintly of rain and lavender. At the very end of the corridor, past a set of rounded windows that show only sky, is a door with a little wooden plaque. It simply reads, Nico. Nico's home is round. Not perfectly, but nearly so. The walls curve gently, and the windows there are many wrap nearly all the way around. From any angle, you can see the sky. That's important to Nico. Right now, they're sitting cross-legged on a cushion by the eastern window, their hands wrapped around a warm mug of rose and mint tea. The sun has dipped below the cloud line, leaving everything awash in a quiet blue. The clouds look like they've been painted in place still, soft-edged, not in a hurry to go anywhere. Nico breathes in slowly. It's not that they're hiding up here. They just feel more like themselves when things are far away. There's a small table behind them, where 3 curved glass pots hold tiny green plants fern, thyme, and a vine that doesn't have a name. The vines curl against the window, as if trying to see the stars. A little wooden cabinet holds papers, envelopes, and an old fountain pen Nico rarely uses. Mostly, they write letters to no one in particular. Letters that begin with things like, "Today the clouds were shaped like forgotten dreams," or, "I think I saw a bird blink at me." Sometimes they fold the letters into small paper boats and set them on the balcony, letting the wind decide what to do with them. Sometimes they stay in the drawer. Nico doesn't mind either way. As the last traces of sunlight fade, the city below flickers. Lights blink off in clusters, first in one district, then another. Street by street, the buildings go dark. Not all at once, not dramatic, just fading. The power is out, Nico notices, but only in the way someone notices a bird has stopped singing. They tilt their head, watching the hush grow across the skyline. Then they rise, moving without hurry. They strike a match. The lantern by the west window glows to life, soft and amber, the kind of light that makes people feel safe without knowing why. Candles follow, one by the sink, one beside the bookshelf, two more on the floor, near the cushions. The air hums differently now. Without the fridge or the old heater, everything feels more like breath and heartbeat. And soon, there are footsteps. Nico hears them before they arrive, a rhythm of curious steps echoing from the stairwell. They open the door without surprise. 3 people stand there. A woman with a book still in her hand, a teenager holding a cat in a jacket, and a man who looks like he didn't realize he was climbing until he stopped. All of them look tired, not sad, just stretched thin. Nico steps aside. They don't speak. They don't need to. The guests enter slowly, as if stepping into a dream. They sit on the cushions. The cat curls beside the fern. The woman opens her book but doesn't read. The man stares out the window like he's forgotten how far the world stretches. Nico brings tea. It tastes like warmth and rain. No one asks for anything. Outside, the stars begin to blink into view one at a time. Then all at once, the sky is a blanket of silver. Someone sighs, and the whole room seems to exhale with them. No one says a word. Stillness is welcome here. And Nico, sitting quietly with their own cup, watches the light play across each face. They know most of these people will leave by morning, but for now, the city has stopped. And above it all, the lantern glows, steady as breath, in a room where the stars feel close enough to understand. Chapter 2. Tea in the Thin Air. The hours drift by like the clouds outside's low, light, unhurried. In the soft amber light of the lanterns, time feels stretched thin and hushed, like a blanket pulled gently over the night. No one has left. The woman with the book is curled on a floor cushion, her shoes set neatly beside her. The book rests closed in her lap now. She hasn't turned a page in over an hour. She's watching the sky instead, eyes soft, unfocused. The teenager is lying on their side, one hand curled protectively around the cat. The cat is asleep, twitching occasionally in some distant dream, its ear flicking now and then at the distant wind. The man, he hasn't said a word. He sits near the bookshelf, his back against the wall, his legs stretched out. His head leans against a rolled-up blanket Nico gave him earlier. He's awake, but barely. His eyelids dip and rise like waves, never fully gone, never fully here. The city remains dark. It's strange how quiet a city can become when the electricity goes out. No fans, no motors, no buzz from fluorescent signs. Just the occasional bark of a distant dog, the creak of the building settling into the cool of the night, the sound of someone shifting softly on a cushion. Nico moves among them gently, like wind in tall grass. They refill mugs, adjust blankets, bring out a small plate of honey crackers and set it on the low table in the center of the room. A quiet offering. No one says thank you, but someone smiles, and that's enough. At one point, the woman finally speaks. "What floor is this again?" Her voice is soft. It sounds like she's already halfway inside a dream. 88, Nico says just above a whisper. The woman frowns lightly. "I didn't think there were that many floors." Nico shrugs but kindly. "Most people don't come this high." That's all they say. The woman seems satisfied with the answer. She lets her head tilt back and closes her eyes. Not to sleep, just to feel the air. The air up here is different. It's thin, but not in a dizzying way, more like the space has been stretched. Like breathing is slower but somehow deeper. Every breath seems to carry more sky than usual. Nico returns to their seat by the eastern window, legs folded, mug warm between their palms. The stars are bright now, not blinking so much as breathing, like they're suspended on invisible threads that sway just slightly with the wind. This happens sometimes. Not often, but once in a while, when something below becomes too much, when the city is too loud, too fast, too lit up for its own good people find their way up here. Not because they plan to, but because they need to. Nico doesn't ask why they come. They just open the door. They offer warmth, tea, blankets. A little room above the noise. Some stay only an hour. Some stay until dawn. No one ever seems to remember the exact path they took to reach level 888. But they all leave lighter than when they arrived. The lanterns flicker slightly as the breeze stirs again. The cat wakes briefly, stretches, then settles back down. Someone stirs the honey crackers but doesn't eat one. A single candle gutters out, and Nico leans forward to relight it without a word. Outside the windows, the clouds begin to part. The stars blink slowly, silver and close. Nico lets their head rest against the cool glass. Their reflection looks peaceful, more still than they remember being. Maybe it's the quiet. Maybe it's the presence of others without the need for conversation. Maybe it's just the height. Far below, the city pulses faintly, dim but steady. Up here, nothing is asked of anyone, not even Nico. The woman with the book has fallen asleep. The man has too. The teenager is humming under their breath, just a note, soft and looping. A song they don't even realize they remember. Nico doesn't need to know what brought them here. Only that something in the stillness gave them room to rest. In a little while, the sun will start to rise. But for now, there is only this. The soft flicker of candlelight, the sound of slow, calm breathing, and the quiet joy of being a small light high above a hurried world. Chapter 3. What the Clouds Remember. Dawn begins quietly. There is no sunrise to speak of, not yet. Just a gradual softening of the dark. The clouds shift from charcoal to slate, then pale slowly into pearl. The kind of light that comes not with drama, but with patience. Nico watches it happen, eyes half-lidded, a blanket draped over their shoulders like a second sky. The guests are still asleep. The woman with the book has curled deeper into her cushion, her breath slow and steady. The teenager and the cat are sprawled in a gentle tangle, a shared warmth between them. The man by the bookshelf hasn't moved, except for the rise and fall of his chest. Nico doesn't move either. Not yet. This part of the morning is too fragile, too beautiful to disturb. Everything is still hushed, like the world is holding its breath before remembering how to spin again. Outside the windows, the clouds stretch far in every directions, soft hills and valleys of mist. The buildings below are still hidden. Only the tallest antennae and a few rooftop gardens peek through. It feels like being on an island in the sky, untouched and ancient. Nico gets up slowly, careful not to let the floor creak. They light the kettle again and pour water over a fresh blend jasmine and ginger this time. The scent rises, warm and slightly sweet, curling around the edges of the room. They gather small things, napkins, a dish of dried apricots, a pitcher of water, movement but unspoken, preparation without expectation. Then they pause. Outside the eastern window, something moves. A bird note, too. Small shapes gliding just above the clouds, their wings barely touching the air. Swallows, maybe? Or some sky-born species that only visits the upper floors of the world. They land on the balcony rail. Nico steps closer, slowly. The birds turn their heads in that quick, knowing way, and one of them hops twice toward the glass. It seems to nod. Then, as if satisfied, it takes flight again. The second follows. It's not unusual, but it always feels like a gift. Nico stands there a moment longer, hand resting on the cool glass, feeling the sky so close they could breathe it in. Behind them, the teenager stirs. A yawn, soft and muffled. Nico turns. Morning. The teen blinks, squints. Still looks like night. Almost morning then. The cat stretches, walks a slow circle, and leaps softly to the window ledge, where it begins to clean one paw with great care. Did I sleep here? The teen asks. Nico nods. Most people do. They sit up slowly, rubbing their face. I didn't mean to. It just felt easy. Nico smiles. That's the point. One by one, the others begin to stir. The man rises and stretches his back. The woman rubs her eyes and glances toward the windows. No one seems rushed. There's no talk of being late, no phones pulled from pockets, just quiet curiosity. The woman walks to the glass. It really does feel like we're above everything. You are, Nico says, placing mugs on the table. This high up, even the noise forgets how to find you. They all sit again, this time facing the soft, brightening sky. The clouds begin to thin, revealing slices of the city still dim, still quiet, but beginning to stir. A few blinking lights. A slow train crawling across a bridge far below. Feels different now. The man murmurs. How? Nico asks. Though they already know, the man takes a sip of tea. Like I remembered how to breathe. Properly. The others nod. No one says more than they need to. Eventually, one by one, they rise. Not with reluctance, but with a kind of reverence, as if they've just come from someplace sacred. They fold blankets, place mugs in the wash basin, offer quiet smiles. The woman hesitates at the door. Will I find this place again? Nico tilts their head, then answers honestly. If you need to. The woman nods. I think I did. Then she leaves. The others follow, down the stairwell, into the slowly waking world. Nico is alone again. The apartment feels peaceful, not empty. The kind of quiet that comes after music, not before. They open the window. The breeze is cool, light. A paper bourdon they folded weeks ago catches the wind from the windowsill and lifts, soaring off into the pale morning. Nico watches it go. Then they sit and breathe and let the clouds remember everything. Chapter 4. The Button That Isn't Marked. Days pass gently. The city below returns to its rhythm buzzing, blinking, full of noise and light. Power is restored. Elevators ding, screens glow, conversations quicken. But on level 888, the air stays slow. Nico continues their quiet ways. They water the plants in curved glass, pot-checking each leaf with a fingertip, whispering to the time, encouraging the vine that still has no name. They sweep the floor with a soft straw broom. They steep tea that changes flavor depending on the sky. Some mornings it's herbal and sweet. Other days, it tastes like remembering. No one comes for a while, and then, one morning, someone does. The elevator chimes. Not the usual ding. Something softer. A chime like a single note on a music box. Faint, curious. Nico lifts their head. The elevator doors open. A girl steps out. She's small, maybe 8 or 9. Her hair is braided in uneven lines, and she holds a notebook to her chest like it's something alive. She doesn't look lost, just thoughtful. Nico smiles gently. Hello? She squints at them. Are you the person who lives in the clouds? Nico considers. Sometimes, yes. She walks in without asking, still hugging the notebook. She circles once, taking in the space. The windows, the plants, the candles. Finally, she sits cross-legged on the floor. I pressed the wrong button, she says. But then I didn't want to leave. Nico nods. That happens. She opens the notebook. It's filled with sketches, some of buildings, some of skies. Most are unfinished. I draw things that feel too big to say, she explains, flipping a page. But I can't always finish them. Nico pours her a cup of tea. Just warm water and lemon balm today. She takes it without question. It's hard to know where to stop, she continues, more to herself than to Nico. I think maybe I stopped too soon, or maybe there isn't supposed to be an end. Nico watches the light shift across her pages. Sometimes things don't need an ending to be whole. She looks up at that, like no one's ever said it quite that way before. They sit together a long time. She doesn't ask questions. Nico doesn't offer stories. The pages of her notebook flutter in the breeze like wings. Eventually, she closes it. I think I needed to be here, she says. Nico only nods. She stands. I don't think I can find this button again. There's no button for level 888, Nico says. Not really. She doesn't seem surprised. Instead, she steps back into the elevator. As the doors close, she waves once, the notebook clutched to her chest again. When the elevator hums back to life, Nico listens for the usual ding. It doesn't come, only the hush of the clouds brushing gently against the glass. Later, Nico will fold a piece of paper into a bird. They'll place it on the balcony railing, and the wind will take it perhaps toward a girl with a notebook, somewhere far below, sketching the sky without needing an ending. Some places don't stay on maps, some buttons aren't marked, and some moments don't need to be explained. They just need to be felt and remembered. Chapter 5. The Hour Between Lights. Evening settles slowly over the city. Not all at once, just a gradual dimming, a soft retreat of light. Street lamps flicker on below, one by one. Windows light up like stars trying to remember how to shine. But on level 888, the glow comes differently. Nico lights their lanterns by hand, one on the windowsill, another near the door, a third by the table where the plants reach slowly toward the fading sky. The flames are small, steady. They don't blink like electricity. They breathe. This is the hour Nico loves most. The hour between lights, when day hasn't quite let go and night hasn't fully arrived. When the sky is neither blue nor black, but something in between Digo, maybe. Or the color of thought. They sit with their tea, something floral tonight, and a small notebook balanced on their knees. Not to write anything urgent, just to mark the shape of the day. Clouds low, wind west, a bird with one white feather. Sometimes, the entries are no more than that. Other times, Nico writes letters. Not to anyone, just letters. Thoughts folded into language, like offerings. They never sign them. Tonight, they write this. If I were to open the door and step into the sky, I think I would not fall, but float because some places know how to hold us. They fold the letter into a triangle. Not quite a bird, not quite a star. Outside, the wind rises. Someone knocks. Not loudly, just enough. Nico opens the door. This time, it's an older man. In a coat that's seen too many winters, he holds a walking stick carved with lines that spiral like rivers. His hair is wild with gray, and his eyes are kind in the way time teaches. I was looking for the observatory, he says. Took a wrong turn, I think. Nico gestures him in. Close enough, they say. He laughs, not loudly. Just a quiet sound, like something remembered. He doesn't ask questions, just steps inside, removes his coat, and sits on a cushion. He sets the walking stick beside him carefully, like it matters. They share tea. He looks out the window for a long while, then... My wife used to say the stars were different from up high. I never quite believed her. Nico says nothing. They only tilt their head toward the sky. He follows their gaze. The stars are beginning to appear slow and certain, not blinking, just arriving. After a long silence, he says, "She would have liked this place. I think she's already been," Nico says softly. He smiles. His eyes stay on the sky. They don't speak again. Not for a while. Eventually, the tea grows cold. He stands, slower than before, and gathers his coat. "I think I'll head back now," he says. "I remember the way." Nico nods. "That's good." He pauses at the door. "You write things?" he asks. "Sometimes. Will you write this?" Nico looks up. "This?" He gestures to the lanterns, the stars, the quiet. "This," he says again. "Whatever this is." Nico meets his eyes. "I already have." He laughs again, softer this time. A laugh made of wind and warmth. Then he leaves. The lanterns glow a little longer. The hour between lights has passed. Night has arrived. But Nico doesn't close the door right away. They just stand there, looking out, holding the shape of a moment that didn't rush, that didn't need to explain itself. And above the city, the stars blink on, one by one, like thoughts finally finding words. Chapter 6. Where the Wind Waits. The next morning arrives with a hush. The sun comes slow, filtered through a veil of silver clouds. The city, for once, seems undecided, caught between waking and dreaming. From the windows of level 888, the sky looks like soft wool pulled across the world. Nico watches it quietly, a mug of warm cardamom tea cradled in both hands. They haven't spoken since yesterday. Not aloud, but their thoughts have been full. The kind of full that doesn't feel heavy, just wide, like standing at the edge of something kind. The apartment is tidy, nothing hurried. The dishes are clean, the cushions fluffed. A small note rests by the plant with no name. "You're doing fine." Nico wrote it yesterday, not for anyone in particular, just because the plant looked like it needed to hear it. The wind brushes against the glass. Soft, still waiting. That's something Nico has learned. The wind doesn't always move. Sometimes it listens. Sometimes it rests. They move to the balcony. The door creaks a little, as it always does, and the cool air wraps around their shoulders. The rail is slightly damp with morning, and far below, the city is still drowsy. Rooftops stretch. Antennas blink like slow thoughts. There's something tucked in the corner. A feather. Not unusual, not here. But this one is different. It's wide and pale, almost translucent. When Nico picks it up, it hums gently in their hand, not with sound, with presence, as if it remembers something and wants to be used again. Nico brings it inside. They sit at their table, clear the space, and set down a clean square of paper. No ink today. The feather doesn't need it. Instead, they simply let it glide across the page. A shape forms, then a word, then nothing more. The word is stay. Nico doesn't know what it means. Not yet. Maybe it's a message. Maybe it's a reminder. Maybe it's just what the feather needed to say. They fold the paper into a small square and tuck it behind the bookshelf. Later, maybe, someone will find it. Or maybe it will wait, like the wind. That afternoon, it rains. The kind of rain that doesn't fall hard just enough to paint the windows, to make the glass sing softly. Nico doesn't light the candles. Not yet. They just sit by the window, wrapped in a quilt, and listen. Every so often, they write another word. Still, quiet. Here. No full letters today. No folded birds. Only words. Single things, like stones placed in a row, marking a path that doesn't need to lead anywhere. Evening comes early. The rain tapers off. The sky goes gray, then lavender, then blue again just barely. Nico steps outside one more time. The wind returns. Not fast, not cold, just there, waiting. It lifts a paper from the table inside, one with a word on it. Here. It carries it gently out the window, up and out into the open sky. Nico smiles. Some messages don't need to arrive. They just need to float. And somewhere, far below or far above, someone might look up and see something they can't quite explain. A small square of paper drifting through the clouds, held in the palm of the wind. And for a moment, they might feel just a little more. Here, Chapter 7. The Quiet That Stays. The days grow cooler. Nico wakes earlier now, wrapped in soft blankets and the pale hush of autumn light. The windows fog at the corners. The tea stays warm longer. The plants huddle in toward the glass, as if watching for something only they can feel. Level 888 has been quiet. No visitors, no knocks, but not lonely. Nico has come to understand the difference. This morning, they sit with a pot of tea brewed from dried pear and fennel. The scent is crisp and strange. The sky outside is brushed with thin gold, the kind of light that feels like it's remembering something. A folded paper bird rests on the windowsill, untouched by wind. It's been there for 3 days. Nico doesn't mind. They've stopped expecting every message to leave. Some are meant to stay. They walk the apartment slowly, touching the backs of chairs, checking the moisture in the soil. They straighten a stack of letters unread, maybe unreadable, and brush a fingertip across the glass of the eastern window. Something stirs. A shape in the sky. Not a person, not a bird, just the feeling of being seen. And then a sound. Not a knock. A chime. Faint, warm, like a bell rung once in a memory. Nico opens the door. No one stands there, only a small envelope on the floor. They pick it up carefully. There's no name, no return address, only 3 words in quiet script. Thank you, quietly. Nico closes the door. They sit at the table, turning the envelope over in their hands. They don't open it. They don't need to. The message is already complete. Outside, the wind rises slightly, swirling a few fallen leaves high above the rooftops. The paper bird shifts, but doesn't fly. The clouds pass slowly, as if reading the city below. Nico folds a new letter. They write, "If you ever wonder where the quiet goes, it stays. It becomes part of you. It waits until you need it again." They fold it into a star. They don't send it. They place it on the shelf beside a feather, a pebble, and the old bell with the green thread. The apartment is filled with small things that never left. Messages, moments, stillnesses that belong to no one. The lantern flickers once. The sun dips low. Far below, the city lights come alive again fast, bright, reaching. But up here, level 888 holds steady. Nico sips their tea and watches the stars come back. Not to speak, just to be seen, and maybe, in the quiet they've tended so gently, someone somewhere breathes a little slower tonight, feeling without knowing why that something above them is still and kind and waiting. Just like always, just like Nico.